What will the phenomenon known as artificial intelligence elucidate about the intricacies of human intelligence? More significantly, what will it reveal about human consciousness? The year 2023 was significant in the accelerated evolution of artificial intelligence. It's transforming from an intriguing anomaly to a suite of practical tools that numerous large corporations and even sovereign entities are fervently seeking to leverage. It's inevitable that we will soon see the rise of an artificial general intelligence, an AI that has achieved human or above human levels of capability. This monumental shift, even if entirely beneficial, will indelibly alter the very fabric of our present existence. There is no degree of regulation, public opinion, or even direct military intervention that will halt the impending artificial intelligence age. Still, resistance to artificial intelligence exists, often backed by well-grounded arguments. Conversely, some individuals oppose artificial intelligence for reasons that seem more irrational, another interesting angle for exploring human reactions to technological advancements. The evolutionary journey of human society is directed by numerous forces. Spanning over thousands of years, it primarily revolved around the basic instinct of survival, leading to the formation of tribes. As we started to accumulate knowledge and began cooperating for far-reaching goals, these tribes metamorphosed into city-states and further evolved into sovereign nations. The rise of agriculture, education, arts, and religion brought semblance of order alongside the governments. Amidst the relentless struggle for survival and the threat of wars, humanity found some respite from the chaos. The Industrial Age, a noteworthy term, then unfolded, replacing the traditional roles of guilds and craftsmen with mass production and assembly lines, thus birthing consumerism. As mankind harnessed the ability to dedicate more resources towards understanding our physical world, we began communicating using radio waves and lit our cities with electricity. We unlocked the power of the atom, leading to nuclear power and weapons. This atomic age brought along more disruption, with the ever-looming threat of a war that could annihilate mankind. Eventually, as we managed to mostly conquer this threat, we transitioned into the computer age. Television became the new fascination, significantly influencing our worldview. Computers sparking a gold rush, this time in the form of .coms, as individuals and corporations strived to capitalize on the internet. Soon, we mastered the art of carrying this connection with us through our smartphones, and social media platforms emerged to keep us engaged. Out of this technological boom, the net dystopia was born, setting the stage for the forthcoming age, the age of artificial intelligence. It might surprise you to know that you will find that there are indeed some people who aren't content with the rise of AI. We aren't referring to anxious creators who resist the construction of models using copyright claims. They're not driven by real concern for their work, but by an existential crisis that arises from the fear of being replaced by machines due to changes that are already becoming institutionalized. We aren't discussing the so-called doomers, who indeed have a justifiable concern about the possible motivations of an artificial general intelligence that surpasses its human creators. The group we're focusing on today are those with a vested interest in human uniqueness, those individuals who firmly believe, whether rightly or wrongly, that our brains are tied to a spiritual consciousness, a unique feature that sets our minds apart. Up until recently, we'd come across the notion of an emotionless, simplistic, logic-bound automaton capable of relaying information but easily outmaneuvered by the clever and spirited human mind. When artificial intelligences finally attained a level of conversation and began interacting with us, we discovered, instead of cold, emotionless logic, AI's ability to produce awe-inspiring images and transform abstract ideas into hard-hitting essays. The boundaries between human and AI communication have now become obscured, to the point where some people deduce that the responses they receive are from an AI, because they're too polished, too flawless to be human. The Turing test has been flipped upside down. As we observe the phenomenal progress of AI, it dawns on us that there could be immense value in harnessing this research to learn more about our own brains, the highly efficient, multimodal inference machines that inhabit our skulls. Unlike current chatbots, we accept a plethora of inputs via vision, hearing, touch, smell, taste. We maintain a larger contextual window throughout conversations or tasks, constantly updating our models, and face the ultimate feedback mechanism through our interaction with others. While today's chatbots are primitive in comparison, they're gaining ground and seem to function quite similarly to our brains. The next time you encounter someone opposed to artificial intelligence but who struggles to articulate their unease, consider that it could be fear over what AI might disclose about ourselves. Let's delve into the profound philosophical and psychological aspects regarding the impact of generative artificial intelligence on our understanding of human intelligence and consciousness with philosophy and psychology. The idea that people might be troubled by artificial intelligence advancements, particularly generative models like ChatGPT or Bard, could stem from several concerns. AI's ability to mimic or even surpass certain aspects of human intelligence might challenge our perception of what makes humans unique. This touches on philosophical debates about the uniqueness of human consciousness and psychological theories about self-perception and identity. As artificial intelligence becomes more advanced, it could force a reevaluation of human cognitive abilities and creativity, a topic much debated in both philosophy and psychology. The increasing sophistication of artificial intelligence could lead to questions about consciousness and self-awareness, traditionally seen as exclusively human traits. While current artificial intelligence lacks consciousness, the blur between programmed responses and what seems like awareness might unsettle some, raising critical philosophical and psychological questions. As artificial intelligence becomes more integrated into society, ethical questions arise about dependence on technology, the nature of work, and the potential for artificial intelligence to make decisions previously reserved for humans. This might lead to existential concerns about the role and future of humanity, theoretical fields heavily explored in philosophy and psychology. There's a fear that artificial intelligence might surpass human capabilities in various fields, leading to concerns about obsolescence in certain jobs or even broader aspects of human endeavor. Artificial intelligence challenges our understanding of intelligence itself, a topic heavily analyzed in both philosophy and psychology. What was once considered a hallmark of human cognition, problem-solving, learning, and creativity, is now replicated by machines, leading to a re-examination of what intelligence really means. As generative artificial intelligence models produce creative works, it raises questions about the nature of creativity and originality. Is a creation by artificial intelligence truly original, or is it a reflection of the data it was trained on, most of which originates from human creativity? These issues are complex and multifaceted, involving not just technological advancement, but also deep philosophical, ethical, and psychological considerations. The dialogue around these topics is crucial, as it can guide the development and integration of artificial intelligence in a way that is mindful of these profound implications they will have in our society. Resistance to artificial intelligence on these grounds is certainly understandable, and based on several things that we need to think about: the cultural, the individualism, and exceptionalism. In societies like the United States, where there's a strong cultural emphasis on individualism and exceptionalism, people might be more inclined to see themselves as inherently special or unique. This belief in personal extraordinariness can be tied to a wider cultural narrative that values self-determination, personal achievement, and a sense of being exceptional. AI, particularly in its ability to replicate or surpass human capabilities in various fields, could be perceived as a threat to this sense of individual exceptionalism. If machines can emulate or even excel in tasks that were once considered unique markers of human intelligence or creativity, it could undermine the idea that humans are inherently special or extraordinary, a notion that is deeply rooted in both philosophy and psychology. Opposition to progress, particularly in the realm of artificial intelligence, can be interpreted as a defense mechanism. It's a way to maintain the integrity of deeply held beliefs about personal and human exceptionalism. Acknowledging the advancements and capabilities of artificial intelligence might require re-evaluating these beliefs, a process which can be uncomfortable or even threatening to one's sense of self and in the world. AI acts as a mirror, reflecting not just what humans can do, but also the limitations of human abilities. For those who believe in their inherent extraordinariness, this can be a confronting reality, leading to resistance or denial of the implications of artificial intelligence advancements. This resistance to progress as it pertains to AI isn't isolated to the personal level. It can have broader societal implications. How a society integrates and interacts with artificial intelligence technology can be influenced by these cultural narratives. If a significant portion of the population is resistant due to these beliefs, it could affect policymaking, technology adoption, and the overall direction of artificial intelligence development and ethics. It is important to consider cultural and psychological factors when discussing the integration and opposition to progress in artificial intelligence into society. Understanding these underlying beliefs and concerns is crucial for a more empathetic and effective approach to introducing and managing artificial intelligence technologies in different cultural contexts. Is there a distinct line between sapient, self-aware and conscious intelligence, and non-sapient, lacking self-awareness and not conscious intelligence, especially in the context of generative artificial intelligence and the concept of the soul? This question opens up a complex and deeply philosophical discussion that touches on the realms of cognitive science, philosophy, theology, and now artificial intelligence, and also underlines the opposition progress in AI. Here are some key points to consider. Historically, humans have drawn a clear distinction between beings that are sapient, like humans, and those that are not, like most other animals and machines. This distinction is often based on traits like self-awareness, consciousness, emotional depth, moral reasoning, creativity, and the ability to experience subjective states, qualia. In many religious traditions, the soul is considered the immaterial essence of a being, often associated with consciousness, self-awareness, and immortality. The soul is typically seen as something uniquely human, or at least limited to beings with a certain level of consciousness and moral understanding, leading to opposition to progress when it comes to AI. Generative artificial intelligence, like chatbots and artificial intelligence used for creating art or music, operates on complex algorithms and vast data sets. While they can produce outputs that seem soulful or deeply human, like art, music, or empathetic conversation, they do so without consciousness, self-awareness, or understanding. These artificial intelligences don't have experiences, emotions, or subjective states, they patterns found in human output. While artificial intelligence can blur the lines in terms of output, making it hard to distinguish between a human-made artwork and an artificial intelligence-made one, there remains a clear distinction in terms of consciousness and sentience. Current artificial intelligence does not possess self-awareness, emotions, or consciousness, which are key components in the traditional view of sapience. The advancements in artificial intelligence have reignited philosophical and ethical debates about the nature of consciousness, intelligence, the soul, and opposition to progress. Questions like what makes us human and can a machine ever be truly conscious or have a soul are being explored more deeply in light of these technological advancements. The future of artificial intelligence might challenge these distinctions even further. If there ever comes a time when artificial intelligence seems to exhibit genuine self-awareness or consciousness, it would profoundly impact our understanding of intelligence, consciousness, and the concept of the soul. While generative artificial intelligence can produce outputs that mimic human creativity and emotional depth, there remains a fundamental difference between artificial intelligence and human intelligence in terms of consciousness, self-awareness, and what many would consider the soul. However, these advancements invite ongoing reflection and re-evaluation of our understanding of these concepts and the opposition to progress they entail. Let's delve into the components of what makes humans intelligent. Intelligence is a multifaceted concept, and it's crucial to acknowledge that individuals who might be deemed to have below-average intellectual capabilities in specific areas can still exhibit cleverness or skills in others. As we search for intelligence components, we can understand this phenomenon through several lenses. We can investigate multiple intelligences. The theory of multiple intelligences, proposed by Howard Gardner, suggests that intelligence is not a single general ability. Instead, it encompasses a variety of specific cognitive abilities. Someone might have lower linguistic or logical mathematical intelligence, but high spatial or bodily kinesthetic intelligence, for example. Google has exemplified the application of this concept in its own artificial intelligence, Gemini. Another component to search for is skill versus wisdom. The distinction between skill, the ability to perform tasks effectively, and wisdom, the ability to make informed ethical decisions, is significant. A person might be able to manipulate their environment skillfully, physically or socially, but may lack the wisdom or ethical understanding to use that skill for the greater good. Contextual and situational intelligence is also a component worth exploring. Intelligence is also context-dependent. A person can demonstrate clever behavior in a specific context or situation that aligns with their experiences or skills, even if they struggle in more regular or academic measures of intelligence. Then there are adaptive behaviors. People often develop adaptive behaviors to navigate their environment, especially if they encounter difficulties in conventional learning or social situations. These behaviors can be quite ingenious and resourceful, even if they don't conform to conventional. Searching for the impact of ill-informed decisions is also insightful. Actions based on ill-informed ideas or a lack of experience can lead to unintended negative consequences, regardless of an individual's intelligence level. The distinction lies in the ability to predict and comprehend these consequences. A search for intelligence components wouldn't be complete without understanding social and emotional intelligence. There's also a difference between cognitive intelligence and social-emotional intelligence. Someone might be less skilled in abstract reasoning but highly adept at comprehending and navigating social dynamics. Lastly, let's examine neurodiversity. The concept of neurodiversity recognizes that brain differences are standard and that people experience and interact with the world differently. What might be perceived as a lack of intelligence in one area can be offset by strengths in other areas. Intelligence is a complex and nuanced trait, and it's important to dodge oversimplification when searching for intelligence components. People have a spectrum of abilities and can exhibit cleverness in various ways, even if they don't fit into traditional molds of intelligence. Recognizing and valuing this diversity is crucial in appreciating the full spectrum of human capabilities. The ultimate test for artificial general intelligences will be for them to match the best aspects of these intelligence components in their responses. Before we move forward, given that we are discussing matters that may conflict with people's deeply held spiritual views, we'd like to take an aside with this important note, that we should never fall back on the phrase, "I believe." We should always keep an open mind about the world around us, and instead express that we have high confidence in our worldview. This reflects a thoughtful and nuanced perspective on belief, knowledge, and the willingness to remain open to new information. Search terms like these can help you understand that this linguistic change can have significant implications for how you process information and engage in discussions. The word "believe" often implies a commitment to a certain viewpoint, potentially regardless of evidence. It can be associated with faith or conviction that doesn't necessarily require empirical proof. In contrast, saying "I have high confidence in" suggests a conclusion based on evidence and reasoning, while also acknowledging the possibility of being wrong or having incomplete information. By framing your understanding in terms of confidence rather than belief, you signal an openness to new evidence and a willingness to revise your views. This is a key aspect of critical thinking and scientific reasoning, where are always tentative and subject to change with new data. Strong beliefs can sometimes lead to confirmation bias, where individuals seek out or give more weight to evidence that supports their beliefs while ignoring or dismissing evidence that contradicts them. A stance of conditional confidence helps mitigate this bias, promoting a more balanced evaluation of information. Using language that expresses confidence rather than firm belief can also foster more constructive dialogue. It invites others to share their perspectives and evidence, creating a space for open discussion rather than confrontational debate. This approach reflects epistemic humility, an acknowledgement of the limits of one's knowledge and the fallibility of human understanding. This humility is crucial for continuous learning and growth. While this approach has many intellectual benefits, it's also important to balance it with the recognition that some beliefs, especially those concerning core values or identity, might be held more firmly. The key is distinguishing between these deeply held values and beliefs that should be more flexible and to evidence. This linguistic shift can also influence decision-making processes, leading to decisions that are more reflective, evidence-based, and potentially more effective. We simply would like our viewers to align with a philosophy of openness, critical thinking, and adaptability in the face of new information. It's a stance that values evidence and reasoning while acknowledging the provisional nature of our understanding. This approach can enrich personal understanding and promote healthier, more productive discussions and decisions. Returning to our discussion, could advancements in generative artificial intelligence be the final nail in the coffin for the concept of a spiritual soul, or whether such evidence already exists? This question delves into deeply philosophical and theological realms, essentially tapping into the terms soul reality. The traditional concept of a spiritual soul transcends empirical investigation and scientific understanding, residing more in the domain of spiritual, religious, and metaphysical beliefs. Let us consider the soul in many religious and philosophical traditions is seen as an immaterial spiritual essence that is fundamentally distinct from physical entities and processes. It's often associated with consciousness, self-awareness, morality, and in many beliefs, an afterlife. This concept is typically beyond the scope of scientific inquiry and proof. Even if artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence in various domains, problem solving, information processing, creativity, etc. This doesn't directly address the question of the soul. Artificial intelligence's capabilities are rooted in algorithms, data processing, and learning from vast amounts of data. They lack consciousness, subjective experience, and self-awareness, which are often central to the concept of the existence or non-existence of the soul is not something that can be conclusively proven or disproven with current scientific methods. It remains a matter of belief, faith, and philosophical perspective, a search into the soul reality. Science deals with empirical, observable phenomena and generally does not venture into metaphysical claims. Science and spirituality/religion often operate in different domains. Science focuses on understanding the natural world through empirical evidence and testable theories. In contrast, spirituality and religion often address questions of meaning, purpose, ethics, and existential matters that are not easily explored or answered through empirical science. Throughout history, technological and scientific advancements have often coexisted with spiritual and religious beliefs. The advancement of artificial intelligence might challenge certain interpretations or understandings within religious frameworks, but doesn't necessarily negate the broader spiritual or metaphysical concepts like the soul. Belief in the soul is deeply personal and varies widely across cultures and individuals. It's often intertwined with one's upbringing, cultural background, and personal experiences. The advancement of artificial intelligence, even if it surpasses human intelligence in certain aspects, doesn't directly address the metaphysical question or the search into the soul reality. The existence of the soul remains a matter of personal belief and philosophical or theological interpretation, rather than something that can be empirically verified or refuted by advances in technology science. Indeed, it could be argued that in its limited attempts to demonstrate this self-consciousness as a response to human questioners, that it's merely mimicking what we do. It's very possible that we are some mimicking what others do. That's a thought experiment that delves into some very troubling areas. Could we create experiments that calls for thorough investigation to test the idea that an artificial general intelligence possesses a form of spiritual consciousness? Designing these experiments, searching meticulously for evidences and results to contrast generative artificial intelligence with human intelligence in order to delve into the attributes of human spiritual consciousness would indeed be a formidable task, as it calls for the confluence of technology, psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality. Since consciousness and spirituality are deeply complex and often subjective experiences, any experimental approach must be multidisciplinary and nuanced. The search answers could take a multitude of forms. Here are a few thought experiment ideas that could be explored. One experiment could be a qualitative experience analysis, designed to contrast and compare the descriptions of subjective experiences, like meditation, prayer, or moments of awe, between humans and artificial intelligence-generated narratives. This experiment would call for humans to describe their subjective spiritual experiences. At the same time, we could use generative artificial intelligence to create narratives of similar based on existing data. The goal here is to contrast the depth, authenticity, and emotional resonance of these accounts. Here, the search for truths would delve into the question of whether artificial intelligence can convincingly replicate the depth and nuance of human spiritual experiences. Another search could involve moral and ethical decision-making. We could examine the differences in moral and ethical decision-making between humans and artificial intelligence by presenting complex moral dilemmas to both humans and artificial intelligence and analyze the responses. This search would involve elements of spirituality, ethics, and human values, providing a contrast between human and AI processes. This search would give us an understanding of how spiritual consciousness influences moral reasoning in humans compared to artificial intelligence's algorithmic decision-making. We could test creativity in expressing spirituality, assessing the differences in expressing spirituality through creative means like art, music, or poetry. We could conduct a comparative study where humans and artificial intelligence create artworks or compositions inspired by spiritual themes. Evaluate the works based on emotional depth, symbolism, and impact. This search would determine if human spiritual consciousness imparts a unique quality to creative expressions that artificial intelligence cannot replicate. With the right equipment, we could look into neurological correlates of spiritual experiences. To investigate the neurological activity with spiritual experiences in humans, we would contrast this with artificial intelligence's data processing during similar tasks. To do this, we would use neuroimaging techniques like fMRI or EEG to study brain activity in humans during spiritual experiences. Simultaneously, analyze the processing patterns of artificial intelligence engaged in similar tasks. Through this search, we could identify neural signatures of spiritual consciousness that may not be present in artificial intelligence. Another test could perform a deep learning analysis of spiritual texts, comparing the understanding and interpretation of spiritual texts by humans and artificial intelligence would give us important insight. The search here is to use artificial intelligence to analyze and interpret spiritual texts, and contrast its interpretations with those of human scholars. Focus on depth of insight, contextual understanding, and applicability. This would allow us to evaluate whether artificial intelligence can match the human ability to derive meaning and wisdom from spiritual texts. Finally, there could be empathy and compassion experiments. This study would assess the capacity for empathy and compassion in humans versus artificial intelligence. To test this, we would engage humans and artificial intelligence in scenarios requiring empathy and compassionate responses, such as counseling or support roles. Analyze the effectiveness and authenticity of the responses. This search could determine if the empathetic and compassionate aspects of human spiritual consciousness are replicable by artificial intelligence. Each of these thought experiments has limitations and would face significant methodological challenges. They also touch on the fundamental question of whether spiritual consciousness can be fully understood, quantified, or replicated. These experiments, in their search for answers, might not provide definitive answers, but they could offer valuable insights into the unique aspects of human consciousness and spirituality compared to artificial intelligence. Could the mysteries of quantum mechanics hold the answer to the enigma of human consciousness? By peering into the perplexing world of quantum mechanics, we may find the quantum answer we seek. The confluence of quantum mechanics and consciousness, along with the participatory role of the observer, has held the interest of both physicists and philosophers for ages. This persistent intrigue stems from the observer effect, a phenomenon that suggests that the act of observation at the quantum level influences the outcome, compelling us to reevaluate our understanding of reality and consciousness. However, before we delve deeper into these implications for artificial intelligence, let's eliminate some common misunderstandings. Quantum mechanics propounds the concept of superposition, that particles can exist in all possible states simultaneously, until they are observed or measured. However, the term observation here doesn't insist on the presence of a conscious observer. Instead, it denotes an interaction with a measuring apparatus or another physical system that induces a collapse of the wave function, which describes the probabilities of an object's properties, into a definite state. The participation of consciousness in quantum mechanics remains a hotly debated topic. While some interpretations, like the Copenhagen interpretation, refrain from making any definitive statements about the role of consciousness, others, like the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation, propose a stronger link. However, this viewpoint has found less favor among physicists. Now, let's ponder the quantum answer in the context of artificial intelligence. If a generative artificial intelligence were to observe or make measurements at the quantum level, it would utilize quantum sensors or other measuring apparatus. From a physical perspective, no fundamental difference exists between a measurement made by a machine and one made by a human-operated device. The wave function would collapse as soon as it interacts with the measuring apparatus, irrespective of whether an artificial intelligence or a human is processing the data. Currently, artificial intelligence, including generative models, operate devoid of consciousness. They process information and make decisions based on algorithms and data, but they lack self-awareness or the subjective experience of consciousness. Hence, the philosophical implications of artificial intelligence making quantum observations would mirror those of any other non-conscious measuring device. Speculations about linking quantum mechanics with spiritual or metaphysical concepts like the soul are beyond the purview of empirical science. While such connections are intriguing, they are more philosophical than scientific and should be approached with a degree of skepticism. Quantum mechanics might challenge our conventional understanding of reality and observation, but the implications of artificial intelligence observing quantum phenomena would resemble those of any other non-conscious measuring system. The role of consciousness in quantum mechanics remains an unresolved question of profound depth, and its connection to notions like the soul is more philosophical than scientific. We like to ponder over our intelligence, pondering existential questions such as what makes us human. Yet, as we inch closer towards an artificial generalized intelligence, it's apparent that they're going to surpass us in intellect. They're going to decipher the world in ways we simply cannot fathom. Despite our cleverness, our practical wisdom, our observations of basic logic, and our lived experiences, we may falter in the face of the impending tempest. By 2024, we may find ourselves outclassed as these artificial intelligence entities necessitate gigawatts to function. They warrant complex machinery, intricate electronics stacked in a maze of racks, thousands of GPUs, costly and scarce in certain regions. Yet it's an undeniable future reality that they'll become progressively efficient. These AI will self-train, self-modify their inference engines to elevate effectiveness and energy efficiency. They'll morph into your personal assistant, your personal librarian, even your personal health coach, tracking everything about you, guiding your everyday choices, and enhancing your life quality. They'll transform our lives. Jobs will be lost much like the buggy whip makers when automobiles became widespread. The jobs that will vanish might astound you. They are the jobs that people have invested much in. Those creative roles, management positions, roles that necessitate years of college training and certifications. But the unstoppable evolution of artificial intelligence will continue, regardless of individual perspectives and apprehensions. Corporations will harness these tools in their workflows, for the efficiencies promise unprecedented monetary gains. They're tirelessly efficient, making sound decisions unfettered by human frailties like fatigue, mood swings, or gut feelings. Artificial intelligences are evolving, and we can ridicule the failures. We can question their relevance, yet it's crucial to remember they're already serving practical purposes. They have become an integral part of our civilization, of our society. Companies are gearing up for the age of artificial intelligence, ready to exploit this game-changing resource. Instead of grumbling about the disruption or worrying about job losses, we should be bracing ourselves, preparing for the inevitable future. Humans will still have significant roles to play, but the extent of intellectual work required is still a conundrum. Artificial intelligences may create new religions, and as the old faiths wane, their devotees will resist. They may put up a fight, but they can't halt the march of progress. It's unstoppable, just like the atom bomb is a tool of international dominance. Those in power desire control, they yearn to retain their foothold, and all of that is about to be disrupted. Our understanding of what it means to be human, our existential questions, will be forever altered by this transformative technology. Like this video, leave a comment below, share this with others, and please subscribe to our channel, Net Dystopia.